Welcome back. I'm Pratap here. Today is the 16th January 2025. In this video, I'm going to generate different supply demand zone reports useful to the premium subscribers. Even before that, all of you please understand we are providing complete free training on supply demand zone price action. The cost of the training is over $8,000, but we are providing complete free training. You can access all the training lessons at our NeoStock YouTube channel. At our channel homepage, you please click on the tab Posts. Some of you might be seeing the tab Community. Click on the tab. You get access to this post. This post is having a YouTube playlist link that will take you to all the training lessons. You just click on the link. Now we are in Supply Demand Zone Price Action Course playlist. Here you have all the training lessons are available, and you need to scroll down to the bottom of the page. Here, starting from lesson 1.1, all the training lessons are placed in an order. So please go through all these lessons one by one and strengthen your skills related to supply demand zone price action. I have also provided the link to our Telegram channel in this video description. Please join at our Telegram channel. It will be helpful to you. Each time when we release a new video or any other important updates, we will be providing at our Telegram channel. Now let's get into the report generation with the help of NeoStock Software Supply Demand Zone Top-Down Analysis Strategy Builder. Okay, first let us identify the stocks near demand and supply zones or price closed inside the demand and supply zones, and then we will move on to the NIFTY, BANKNIFTY and Bullish and Bearish trade setups for monthly income trade, weekly income trade and daily income trade, and finally we will generate stop buffers based on daily ATR. Okay, first I'm starting with yearly time frame. Stocks closed inside the yearly demand zone. We got 3 stocks. I'm giving you only few seconds time to watch the report. I request you pause the video, study the report. Once you study, you can proceed further. In case if you did not understand how to study this report or how to understand this report, I request you complete our training lesson 21.1. In that video, I have explained each and every column, their values, abbreviations in detail. Okay, now next report for yearly time frame. Price closed inside yearly supply zone. We don't have any stocks. Next time frame is half yearly. Stocks near half yearly demand zone. We have 2 stocks. Next half yearly time frame. Stocks near half yearly supply zone. We got 1 stock. Next half yearly time frame. Price closed inside the half yearly demand zone. We got 5 stocks. Next half yearly time frame. Price closed inside the half yearly supply zone. We got 2 stocks. Next time frame is quarterly. Stocks near quarterly demand zone. We got 1 stock. Next quarterly time frame. Price closed inside the quarterly price near to the quarterly supply zone. Sorry for the mistake. We got 3 stocks. Next quarterly time frame. Price closed inside the quarterly demand zone. We got 32 stocks. And the first 22 stocks you are seeing in this list. I am scrolling the list down. So total 32 stocks are filtered. We can further reduce this list by adding high probability parameter EMA Confluence. How many of these quarterly demand zones are having EMA Confluence, quarterly EMA Confluence? Let's set that filter in our software. In the EMA confluence parameter at quarterly time frame, I am setting the filter quarterly demand zone having quarterly EMA confluence. And remember, EMA confluence makes sense only when the trend is up or down, but not sideways. So that is the reason why in the trend, zone violation trend, at quarterly time frame, I am selecting up or down. Let me filter. Now the list is come down to 15 from 32. And all these 15 quarterly demand zones are having quarterly EMA confluence. Okay, next quarterly time frame. Price closed inside the quarterly supply zone. We got 4 stocks. Let's check any of these 4 stocks are having quarterly, 4 supply zones are having quarterly EMA confluence. Earlier we tested for demand zones, now we are testing for quarterly time frame supply zones. Quarterly supply zone having quarterly EMA confluence filter is enabled, and trend at quarterly time frame can be up or down but should not be sideways. See, all 4 supply zones are having a quarterly EMA confluence. Good. This is about a quarterly time frame, and the next time frame is monthly. Stocks near monthly demand zone. 7 stocks are filtered. Next, monthly time frame, stocks near monthly supply zone. We got again 7 stocks. Next, monthly time frame, price closed inside the monthly demand zone. We got a big list. So total 46 stocks are filtered, and you are seeing first 19 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So total 46 stocks. We can further reduce this list by adding high probability parameter EMA confluence. This time monthly demand zone having monthly EMA confluence filter we have to select. So in the EMA confluence at monthly time frame, I am selecting the filter monthly demand zone having monthly EMA confluence, and trend on the monthly should not be sideways. It can be up or down. Let me filter the stocks. Now the list is reduced to 23. 23 stocks are filtered. All these 23 monthly demand zones are having monthly EMA confluence. Of course, the current prices are closed inside the monthly demand zone, and trend is not sideways. Most of the stocks it is uptrend. I think only one stock, the fifth one, no, 2 stocks, third and fifth are having downtrend, monthly trend. Always look into the monthly trend in the LTF time frame. Whichever the time frame you select, see, this is the time frame we selected, and that time frame is treated as LTF. Okay, this is about price closed inside the monthly demand zone. Next, monthly time frame, price closed inside the monthly supply zone. We got 9 stocks. Let's verify out of these 9 how many are having, how many of these monthly supply zones are having monthly EMA confluence. Let's verify. So in the EMA confluence at monthly time frame, I am setting the filter monthly supply zone having monthly EMA confluence, and the trend on monthly time frame should not be sideways. It can be up or down. Let's filter. We got 3 stocks. These 3 monthly supply zones are having monthly EMA confluence, and all the 3 supply zones are pierced supply zones. Okay, this is about monthly time frame. Next time frame is weekly. Stocks near weekly demand zone. We got 9 stocks. Next, weekly time frame. Stocks near weekly supply zone. We got 27 stocks. So you are seeing first 15 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So total we got 27 stocks where price closed inside the monthly supply zone. We can further reduce this list by setting EMA filter. How many of these monthly supply zones are having monthly EMA confluence? Did I select demand zones? Okay, anyway, I'll come back to demand zones again in case if we missed. So in the EMA confluence, weekly time frame, weekly supply zones having a weekly EMA confluence filter is enabled. Trend on weekly time frame, I am selecting up or down. Now the list is come down to 11 stocks. These 11 weekly supply zones are having weekly EMA confluence. And also stocks near weekly supply zone. Now the list is reduced. I think stocks near weekly demand zones we already filtered, right? These are not price closed inside. These are the stocks near weekly supply zone. The reason why we applied the filter is because the list is big. Okay, fine. Next time frame for a weekly time frame, price closed inside the weekly demand zone. We got a very big list. We got 69 stocks. And you are seeing first 16 stocks. I am scrolling the list for your reference purpose. So total 69 stocks are filtered where price closed inside the weekly demand zone. Now we can further filter this list by setting a weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence. So in the EMA confluence at a weekly time frame, I am setting the filter weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence. And in the trend at a weekly time frame, I am setting the filter as up or down but not sideways. Now let's filter the stocks. See, now the list is come down to 18 stocks. You are seeing first 17 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So total 18 stocks are filtered where price closed inside the weekly demand zone, and this weekly demand zone is having weekly EMA confluence. And also don't forget, we are also including PR set zones because you already learned PR set zone strategy in lesson 28. Okay, next, weekly time frame. Stocks near weekly supply zone. Price closed inside the weekly supply zone. Weekly time frame, price closed inside the weekly supply zone. We got 20 stocks. So you are seeing first 15 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So total 20 stocks are filtered. Out of these 20, how many of these weekly supply zones are having weekly EMA confluence? Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at a weekly time frame, I am setting the filter weekly supply zone having weekly EMA confluence, and trend at a weekly time frame should not be sideways. It can be up or down. Let's filter. Now the list is come down to 10 stocks from 20. And these 10 weekly supply zones are having weekly EMA confluence and also current price closed inside the weekly supply zone. Some of these supply zones are pierced supply zones. Okay, this is about weekly time frame. Next time frame is daily. Entry time frame daily. Let us find the stocks near daily demand zone. We got 13 stocks. Out of these 13, how many high liquidity zones are available? First one is a pierced zone and also it is an indices. We don't focus on this. Anyway, it is pierced. So we have one weekly high liquidity zone and also having high liquidity, but see the distance is very big, nearly 18% move it is required to get into this supply zone. Anyway, our focus is stocks near high liquidity zone. Wipro is having high liquidity demand zone. We identified only one high liquidity daily demand zone from this list. So next, daily time frame, stocks near daily supply zone. We got 9 stocks. Let us identify high liquidity daily supply zones from this list. We don't have any high liquidity daily supply zones from this list. Okay, next, daily time frame, price closed inside the daily demand zone. We got a big list. 30 stocks are filtered where price closed inside the daily demand zone. I am scrolling the list down. So total 30 stocks are filtered. Price closed inside daily demand zone. We can further reduce this list by setting the high probability parameter EMA confluence. Let's verify how many of these daily demand zones are having daily EMA confluence. So in the daily time frame, I am setting the filter daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence, and the trend on daily time frame should not be sideways. It can be up or down. Let's filter the stocks. Now the list is come down to 6 from 30 stocks. These 30 daily demand zones are having daily EMA confluence. And current price is closed inside the daily demand zone. Okay, next, for daily time frame, price closed inside the daily supply zone. We got 52 stocks, and we are seeing first 15 stocks in the list. BANKNIFTY is also in the daily supply zone. I am scrolling the list down. So total 52 stocks are filtered where price closed inside the daily supply zone. We can further reduce this list by setting the high probability parameter EMA confluence. Daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence. So in the EMA confluence at daily time frame, I am setting the filter daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence. And the trend on daily time frame should not be sideways. It can be up or down. Let's filter. Now the list is come down to 27 from 54 stocks. So you are seeing first 15 stocks in the list. These daily supply zones are having daily EMA confluence. Both BANKNIFTY and FINNIFTY are having supply zones having daily EMA confluence. Okay, I am scrolling the list down. So total 27 stocks are filtered, where price closed inside the daily supply zone, and those daily supply zones are having daily EMA confluence. So this is about the daily time frame. The next time frame is 125 minutes. Stocks near 125 minutes demand zone, we got 8 stocks. Next, 125 minutes time frame, stocks near 125 minutes supply zone, we got 10 stocks. Next time frame is 75 minutes. Entry time frame 75 minutes. Let us find the stocks near 75 minutes demand zone. We got 14 stocks. Out of these 14 75 minutes demand zones, how many high liquidity zones are there? Let us identify. Hindustan Unilever, HUL. It is already tested 3 times. 13 rejections from this zone. Very interesting. That's it. We have only one daily high liquidity, we have only one 75 minutes high liquidity demand zone from this list. Excuse me. Okay, next 75 minutes time frame. Let us find the stocks near to the 75 minute supply zone. We got 10 stocks. Let's identify high liquidity zones from this list, supply zones. So we don't have any high liquidity supply zones from this list. We identified only 2 high liquidity zones today. One is a daily demand zone, Wipro, and another one is 75 minutes demand zone, HUL, Hindustan Unilever. That's it. Because the list is small, maybe you can look into DIT or WIT trades. But intraday traders, though using those DIT, WIT, you can plan intraday trade setups by fine-tuning the zones to 5 minutes level. Or maybe you can also look into low priority high liquidity zones. Remember, the success rate is less than 80%, their success rate. But something is better than nothing, right? Okay, this is about 75 minutes time frame. Next time frame is 25 minutes. Stocks near 25 minutes demand zone. We got 5 stocks. Next 25 minutes time frame, stocks near 25 minutes supply zone. We got 12 stocks. Next 15 minutes time frame, stocks near 15 minutes demand zone. We don't have any stocks. Next 15 minutes time frame, stocks near 15 minutes supply zone. We got 13 stocks. Let's verify out of these 13, how many of these 15 minute supply zones are having ITF Confluence. That is 15 minute supply zone having confluence with 75 minute supply zone. Let us set that filter. I enable the filter. Sorry, this is a demand zone, right? Sorry for the mistake. Removing the filter. Filter is removed. In the supply zone, I am setting the filter 15 minute supply zone with 75 minute supply zone confluence. With this filter, we got 4 stocks. That means these 15 minute supply zones are part of this 75 minute supply zone. Out of these 4, third one is pierced. No, it's not useful. Okay, next time frame is 5 minutes. Stocks near 5 minutes demand zone. We got 6 stocks. Let's verify how many of these demand zones are having ITF confluence. That is 5 minutes demand zone with 15 minutes demand zone confluence. I am enabling the filter. So with this filter, list is come down to 3 stocks out of 3. The third one is pierced, so it is not useful. So first 2 stocks, these 5 minutes demand zones are part of the 15 minutes demand zone. Okay, next time frame is 5 minutes and stocks near 5 minutes supply zone. We got 21 stocks. And we are seeing first 15 minute stocks in the list. I'm scrolling the list down. So total 21 stocks are filtered. Stocks near 5 minute supply zone. Out of these 21, how many are having ITF Confluence? That is 5 minute supply zone should be part of 15 minute supply zone. Let's set that filter in the supply zone Confluence. So I'm enabling the filter 5 minute supply zone with 15 minute supply zone. With this filter from 21 stocks, the list is come down to 10 stocks. In all these 10 stocks, these 5 minute supply zones are part of the 15 minute supply zone. Couple of 5 minute supply zones are pierced, the fifth one and fourth one. So they are not useful. So this is about stocks near demand and supply zones for different time frames. Next, let us look into NIFTY and BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain. Let me start with NIFTY. Generating a monthly supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. So this is NIFTY monthly supply demand zone chain. Always look into the zone column to find the high liquidity zones. Look into the pierced column to find the pierced zones. And look into the LTF trend always to find the trend of the current time frame you have selected. And apply the same rules for the remaining supply demand zone chain reports. Okay, next, weekly supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, daily supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, 125 minute supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, 75 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, 25 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, 15 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. All these are all supply zones. You have a demand zone here. So what I do, I will scroll the list down so that you can refer more demand zones. So this is the nearest demand zone and nearest supply zone. Okay, next, 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. All these are all supply zones. Scrolling the list down. See, this is the nearest demand zone. And this is the nearest supply zone. One of them has to be violated to find the direction of NIFTY in tomorrow. Because one will be definitely violated because they are very near, or maybe both will be violated. And a new demand zones level maybe here or here, it may get some support or resistance. Anything will happen tomorrow. Okay, this is about NIFTY supply demand zone chain. Next, we will generate BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain. That is nothing but NIFTY Bank. Generating Bank Nifty monthly supply demand zone chain. Next, weekly supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, daily supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, 125 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, 75 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, 25 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, 15 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. So this is the nearest demand zone. Let me show more demand zones. So all the above supply zones, below demand zones. Okay, next, 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. So this is the nearest demand zone. I am scrolling the list down so that you can see equal number of demand zones and the supply zones. So this is about the Bank Nifty supply demand zone chain. Next, we will generate bullish and bearish trade setups for monthly income trade, weekly income trade and daily income trade. In short, MIT, WIT and DIT. Okay, first let us generate bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. So for MIT setup, bullish trade setup, entry time frame is daily. Entry zone should be demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at entry time frame daily, I am selecting the value bullish, indicating the software generate bullish trade setup for entry time frame daily. That is nothing but monthly income trade. And these daily demand zones should not be pierced, but actually you land pierced zone strategy. I am allowing pierced zones until daily time frame. 75 and all we will eliminate pierced zones. I mean we will filter pierced zones. But daily okay. Because pierced zone strategy will be helpful to you up to daily time frame. 75 will also helpful, but 75 minute zone should be a high liquidity zone. So that's why we are just ignoring 75 minutes. Okay, zone achievement should be violated opposing zone and minimum odd enhanced score should be 12. And for both these filters are applied to daily demand zone. Let's filter. We got 7 stocks. So currently these 7 stocks are supporting bullish trade setup for monthly income trade, and entry time frame and entry zones are daily demand zones. Out of these 7 daily demand zones, some are already high probability based on high liquidity zones. But we can add further more high probability based on zone confluence. Let us filter the stocks based on high probability. Zone confluence, we have to use 2 filters. First filter is LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. That is a daily and a weekly demand zone confluence. I am enabling the filter. With this filter, let us filter the 7 stocks. All 7 stocks are again we got. That means all these 7 stocks are having a LTF zone and ITF zone confluence. That means the daily zone is part of the weekly zone. Because daily is part of the weekly and weekly trend is up, that is ITF trend, let us further filter based on the weekly zone having weekly EMA confluence, because daily zone is part of the weekly zone. So in the EMA confluence at weekly time frame, I am setting the filter weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence, because the daily zone is part of the weekly zone. We got 3 stocks. So these 3 stocks are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks, because the daily zone is part of the weekly zone and weekly trend is up, and also weekly demand zones are having weekly EMA confluence. Okay, this is about bullish trade setup for daily income trade and ITF and LTF zone confluence. Next, let us look for LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence. Removing EMA filter because it is ITF specific. Now we are focusing on HTF. So LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence, we should set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled. Second filter, daily demand zone with monthly demand zone confluence. Third filter, weekly demand zone with monthly demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence, we got 3 stocks. In these 3 stocks, these daily demand zones are part of the weekly demand zone, both together again part of the monthly demand zone. That means all zones are part of monthly. And monthly trend is up for the first 2 stocks. If any of those first 2 stocks are having monthly EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let us verify. In the EMA confluence at monthly time frame, monthly demand zone having monthly EMA confluence. With this filter, we don't have any monthly EMA confluence supported stocks. Okay, this is about bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. Next, bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. Entry time frame is daily. Entry zone is supply zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at entry time frame daily. This time I am selecting bearish. And the 2 filters, because we are ignoring the third one, pierced zones. So remaining 2. Zone achievement is violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score is 12. And both the filters are applied to daily supply zone. Now let's filter the stocks. We got 4 stocks. Currently, these 4 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. And entry time frame zones are daily supply zones. Out of these 4 daily supply zones, some of these daily supply zones are high liquidity zones. Apart from that, we need to further add more high probability for those zones based on the zone confluence. So first filter is LTF and ITF supply zone confluence stocks. Let us filter. That is a daily and a weekly supply zone confluence supported stocks. I am enabling the filter. Out of 4, we got 3 stocks. In these 3 stocks, these daily supply zones are part of the weekly supply zone. And the weekly trend is down in all the 3 stocks. Because the daily is part of the weekly supply zone, let us verify weekly supply zone is having weekly EMA confluence. So in the EMA filter, weekly time frame, I am setting the filter weekly supply zone having weekly EMA confluence. We got 1 stock. So this is even more high probability trade setup supported stock, and also it is a high liquidity supply zone. Excellent. Okay, next we will filter based on LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence. I am removing EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, we should set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled. Second filter, daily supply zone with monthly supply zone confluence. Third filter, weekly supply zone with monthly supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, we did not get any stocks. Okay, that means there is no LTF, ITF, HTF supported supply zones. Okay, next is a bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. For weekly income trade, entry time frame 75 minutes, entry zone, demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at weekly time frame, I am selecting bullish. And we have to set 3 filters for this 75 minutes demand zone. First filter is 75 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter at 75 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0, zone achievement violated opposing zone, minimum odd enhancer score 12. All 3 filters are applied to 75 minutes demand zone. And we got 18 stocks. So first 15 stocks you are seeing in the list. All are supporting bullish trade setup for Weekly income trade. I'm scrolling the list down. So total 18 stocks are filtered for supporting bullish trade setup for weekly income trade, and entry time frame zones are 75 minutes demand zones. All these demand zones are 75 minutes demand zones. And out of these 18 75 minutes demand zones, some of the demand zones are high probability, high liquidity demand zones. That way they are adding some high probability to the zone. We can further add high probability based on the zone confluence. So first filter is LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. So let's add that filter. That is 75 minutes and daily demand zone confluence. So with this filter, out of 18 stocks, we got 12 stocks. In all these 12 stocks, these 75 minutes demand zones are part of the daily demand zone. That is what zone confluence. 75 minute zone is overlapped with daily demand zone. Because 75 minute zone is overlapped with the daily zone, if the daily zone is having daily EMA confluence, there are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Some mistake I made in this list. I set a wrong filter. Sorry, I am regenerating this bullish trade setup again. Please ignore the earlier one. See, this is wrong. I have to set for 75 minutes time frame. Because this is the 75 minutes entry, for 75 minutes I am selecting bullish. Sorry for the mistake. And filter, we set it for 75 minutes only, right? PR should count filter. Yes, 75 minutes 00 we set. Okay. So I'm generating once again bullish trade setup for weekly income trade, because the filter you have to set in the entry time frame, not weekly time frame. Sorry for the mistake. So we identified only 5 stocks. 5 stocks supporting bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. And entry time frame zones are 15 minutes. Okay, out of these 5 stocks, some are high liquidity zones. But we can further filter them based on by setting another high probability parameter, zone confluence. That is 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. I am enabling the filter 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. Earlier enabled. We got 5, okay. So in the demand zone confluence, 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence, I am enabling the filter. So with this filter, we got all 5 stocks. Out of 7, 5 stocks we got. Okay, out of these 5, within these 5, these 75 minutes demand zones are part of the daily demand zone. They are overlapped with daily. And daily trend is up in all these stocks. So let us verify daily demand zone with daily EMA confluence, because 75 minute zone is overlapped with daily zone. So in the EMA confluence daily time frame, I am setting the filter daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence. With this filter, we got 3 stocks. These 3 are even more high probability trade setup supported zones. Okay, this is about LTF, ITF and its ITF EMA confluence based strategy. Always look into the search strategy so that you will understand how we filter the stocks. Okay, next LTF, ITF, HTF zone confluence. Let's verify. Remove the EMA filter. So in the demand zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First one is already enabled. Second one, 75 minutes with the weekly demand zone confluence. Third filter, daily demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence. With all the three filters, LTF, ITF, HTF, demand zone confluence, we got 4 stocks. In these 4 stocks, these 75 minutes demand zones are part of the daily demand zone. Both together again part of the weekly demand zone. Weekly trend is up in 2 stocks. If any of these 2 stocks are having a weekly EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Of course, all are high probability because of high liquidity zone. But based on zone confluence also, let us verify. So in the EMA confluence at weekly time frame, because 75 minute zone together with daily zone is part of the weekly zone. That's why we are setting weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence, and trend on weekly should not be sideways. But it is a bullish trade setup. I am selecting uptrend. So we got both the stocks. Both the stocks having HTF trend up, they are filtered. So EMA confluence now adds the extra advantage. Weekly EMA confluence. So this is about bullish trade setup weekly income trade. Next, bearish trade setup weekly income trade. Entry time frame 75 minutes. Entry zone, supply zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at 75 minutes entry time frame, I am selecting bearish, and the 75 minute supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 75 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means zone pierced count should be 0. Pierced count 0 means the zone is not pierced. Zone achievement violated opposing zone, minimum odd enhancer score 12. All 3 filters are applied to 75 minute supply zone. Now we got 16 stocks, and you are seeing first 15 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So total 16 stocks are filtered. Out of 16, some of the 75 minute supply zones are high liquidity zones. That way they added high probability for the zone. But we can further add high probability even by using zone confluence. That is LTF, first filter is LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. That is nothing but 75 minutes and daily supply zone confluence. I am adding the filter 75 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. With this filter, now the list is reduced to 13 stocks. In all these 13 stocks, these 75 minute supply zones are part of the daily supply zone. And we can further add more probability based on the daily EMA confluence to the daily supply zone. Why daily supply zone? Because 75 minute supply zone is part of the daily supply zone, and daily trend is down in all these stocks. So that's why I am adding EMA confluence filter on daily time frame with the daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence. With this filter, now the list is come down to 7 from 13. So these 7 stocks are even more high probability trade setup supported WIT trade setup. WIT bearish trades with LTF, ITF zone confluence and ITF EMA confluence. There are even more high probability trade setup stocks. Okay, the next filter is LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence. I am removing this EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, we should set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled, that is 75 with daily. Second filter, 75 minute supply zone with weekly supply zone confluence. Third filter, daily supply zone with weekly supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence, we got 3 stocks. In these 3 stocks, this 75 minute supply zone is part of the daily supply zone, both together again part of the weekly supply zone. And the weekly trend is down for the next second and third stocks. If any of these 2 stocks are having weekly EMA confluence, weekly supply zone with weekly EMA, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks, because 75 minutes entry zone and daily zone together part of the weekly zone. So that's why we are setting weekly EMA Confluence. So weekly time frame, I am setting the filter. Weekly supply zone having weekly EMA Confluence. We got one stock. So this is even more high probability trade setup supported stock. So currently it is moving between high liquidity zone and high liquidity, but it is a PR set zone. See, this is already tested 9 times. Why it is already tested 9 times? Because it is a high probability trade setup, supported stocks. Bearish trade setup. So this is a bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. Next, bullish trade setup daily income trade. Entry time frame is 15 minutes. Entry zone is demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup, at 15 minutes time frame, I am selecting bullish, and 15 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So that's why in the pierced count, at 15 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Let's filter. We got 21 stocks. So first 15 stocks in the list, bullish trade setup for daily income trade. I am scrolling the list down. So total 21 stocks are supporting bullish trade setup for daily income trade, and entry zones are 15 minutes demand zones. All these demand zones are 15 minutes demand zones. Out of these 15 minutes demand zones, some are already having high probability based on high liquidity zones. We can also further add more probability to the zones based on the zone confluence. So first filter is LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. Let us filter the stocks from these 21 stocks. That is LTF, ITF here is 15 minutes and 75 minutes demand zone confluence. I am enabling the filter. With this filter from 21 stocks is come down to 14 stocks. In these 14 stocks, these 15 minutes demand zones are part of the 75 minutes demand zone. And 75 minutes trend, ITF trend is up. If 75 minutes demand zone is having daily EMA, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks from these 14 stocks. Let us verify. In the EMA confluence at 75 minutes time frame, because 15 minutes zone is part of the 75 minutes demand zone. So I am setting 75 minutes demand zone having daily EMA confluence filter. With this filter, we got 2 stocks. So these 2 stocks are even more high probability trade setup supported demand zones. Okay, this is LTF, ITF zone confluence, and ITF zone having a daily EMA confluence. Next, let us look for LTF, ITF and HTF zone confluence filters. Removing EMA filter. And in the demand zone confluence, we should set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled. Second filter is a 15 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. Third filter, 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence, we got 3 stocks. In these 3 stocks, this 15 minutes demand zone is part of the 75 minutes demand zone. Both together again part of the daily demand zone. And daily trend is up in the first 2 stocks. If any of these 2 stocks are having daily EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at a daily time frame, daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence. With this filter, you should consider only the first stock. Second one is sideways trend, so no need to verify that. Okay. So this is about bullish trade setup for daily income trade. Next, bearish trade setup for daily income trade. Entry time frame is 15 minutes. Entry zone is supply zone. Bullish or bearish trade setup at 15 minutes time frame, I am selecting bearish. These 15 minute supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter at 15 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone, minimum odd enhancer score 12. All 3 filters are applied to 15 minute supply zone. Let's filter the stocks. We got 12 stocks. And these 12 stocks are currently supporting bearish trade setup for daily income trade. And entry time frame is 15 minutes supply zones. Entry zones are 15 minute supply zones. And in these 15-minute supply zones, some of these supply zones are high liquidity zones. So they already got some high probability. Apart from that, we can also add more high probability based on the zone confluence filters. So first filter is LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. Let us filter based on that. That is 15-minute supply zone with 75 minutes supply zone confluence. I enabled the filter. With this filter, the list is come down to 10 stocks. In these 10 stocks, these 15-minute supply zones are part of the 75-minute supply zone. And the 75 minutes trend is down in all these stocks. If any of these 75-minute supply zones are having daily EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks, because 15-minute supply zone is part of the 75-minute supply zone. Let's verify in the EMA confluence at 75-minute supply zone, because 15-minute supply zone is part of the 75-minute supply zone. We are setting the filter 75-minute supply zone having daily EMA confluence. With this filter, we got 3 stocks. So these 3 stocks are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. And moreover, all these supply zones are having high liquidity zones. Maybe that is the reason why Tata Communication already tested 3 times. Okay, this is about a bearish trade setup for daily income trade. But LTF, ITF zone confluence and ITF EMA confluence. Next, we will filter based on LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence. I am removing ITF EMA filter. And in the supply zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled. Second filter, 15-minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. Third filter, 75-minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. That is LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence. We got 5 stocks. In all these 5 stocks, these 15-minute supply zones are part of the daily supply zone. Part of this 75-minute supply zone, both together part of the daily supply zone. And daily trend is down in all these stocks except the second one. The remaining 4 stocks, if the daily supply zone is having daily EMA confluence, those stocks are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let us verify. In the EMA confluence, daily time frame, daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence. We can filter sideways trend on daily time frame, because this is bearish trade setup. Trend should be downtrend on the daily time frame. So we got 1 stock. So this is even more high probability trade setup, 15-minute supply zone, because this 15-minute supply zone is part of the 75-minute supply zone, both together part of the daily supply zone. So that way it is a high probability, and that daily supply zone is having daily EMA confluence. So this is the bearish trade setup for daily income trade. In the final report, let us generate stop buffers based on daily ATR. So first 17 in this list are indices, remaining all are equity stocks. So I am scrolling the list down, whichever the stock you want to refer, there you pause the video, after that you can proceed further. Okay, I am scrolling the list down. So this is the end of the report. Hope this information will be useful to you for your further study and analysis. Let's all meet again in our next video. Thank you.